How you doing, peoples? Two Dread here, back in effect. Been a long time since I've been here, but I want to speak about like our media, of whom we seem to be so gullible to. We seem to believe all what they say because they say so. Well, I would like to take you back to the year of 1988, of where there was a game. This is a thing that known as the Hillsborough disaster. Now, the media blamed the public. The Sun, a now debunked newspaper, one of Richard Murdoch's empires, had a story which covered it saying, Hillsborough, the truth. What they claimed was the truth, that Sheffield United supporters were seen urinating over the members of the emergency services who were there trying to help the dying and the injured. Not true. They claimed that it was drunken thugs and drunken supporters were the cause of the damage. Not true. And of the thousands of people that were there to witness, not any one of them can collaborate any part of that story, except for the fact that the disaster happened. In an inquiry, the first inquiry they claimed that the reason this place was concentrated is because the crowd kicked open the gates and bust their way through. No. It was a police officer, a police officer who had limited, if any, I believe it was zero knowledge of actual crowd control. He may have had training, but he'd never actually dealt with a crowd of that magnitude, and he knew not what to do. What they did last year to control it, he didn't use that, and he fucked up. Anyhow, that's not the report we got. And up to today, people are still fighting for the truth. 1988, people are still fighting for the truth. Many children lost their lives. You know, children and teenagers were the multitude of people that died. 2 ambulances managed to get on the scene. But what we were fed, we chose to believe. And up to today, I was shocked to hear the evidence of what they have and the factors of what was kept from us. They didn't interview certain people who can verify, didn't even interview officers who testified, but you know what, their testimony is not to be heard. They weren't called up. But say la vie. Let's move on to more recent events. Charles de Meneze, a Brazilian man, told to us, the public, via the media, as a suspected terror suspect. Now, the police followed this man on the bus and wherever else he went, and they followed him to Stockwell Tube Station. Now, if they have any intelligence of what they claim, was the reason they're following him, due to their intelligence, I think the word is incompetence, mind you, but they should have known he was going to Stockwell Station during the rush hour. Multitude of people. The most people are going to be using the train at that point. The train's going to be packed. Can't have him get there, because that will be, if he has a bomb, that's maximum damage. We need damage limitation. Take him out before the station. This doesn't happen. They let him get in the station. The report we get back is the man jumped over the barrier. He was wearing a puffer jacket, and so all these things. No, the video evidence shows he went and bought a paper. He coolly walked to the turnstiles, he'd an Oyster card or a travel card, but he uses it to travel. He coolly goes down the escalators. Maybe 5 to 10 seconds afterwards, you see the police come rushing in, and they jump him on the train. 2 of them, I can't remember how many hold him down, but the police officers hold him down. Another one comes on the train while they're holding him, stands above him, pat, executes the man. I believe it was 6 times they shot him. Now, you know what? What is that? Is that, that's an execution. That's my belief. That's an execution. That's a message. And the message is, we got a license to kill. And we will. Because, Charles de Meneze was and is an innocent man. He was nowhere near a terrorist or any such thing. He was purely an innocent man. Let's move off from him and let's come to a more recent event again. And we have the one like Smiley culture. Smiley Culture's house is being raided by the police, and I believe they're going to be raiding him for drugs. So, as we all know, if they're going to raid your house for drugs, they're going to bust open the door, they're going to come and find you, they most probably handcuff you and put you to sit down in a chair away from any sharp object or anything that they could do anybody any harm. But no, Smiley Culture's raid, I don't know. What did they knock on the door? Excuse me, Mr. Smiley Culture, we're here to raid your house to look for some drugs. Would you mind making a cup of tea while we search your house? Well, he was in the kitchen making a cup of tea. Does it match? Does it fit? Not from where I sit. But apparently that's what he did. He was allowed to go into the kitchen to make a cup of tea, so that means he wasn't bound, he wasn't... How does that happen? Now, what does he do apparently? You know, they say Smiley Culture stabbed himself in the heart. Now, I've never tried it, and I ain't going to either, you know, but you know you got some heavy ribs there, so to stab yourself in the heart and to actually penetrate to get there, boy, because you got that big breastplate, that's going to hurt like a, really hurt. And I believe you're going to have some strength to, but apparently he did. Debatable. We want justice. They claim that he pulled out a knife and was saying to the officers, "Do you want some? Do you want some?" Anybody that knows Smiley Culture, he don't speak like that. Yeah, I mean, anyway, let's move off of Smiley Culture because we're still fighting for justice on him. Let's come to a more recent event. Again, now, this is a man by the name of Mark Duggan who gets shot by the police. Apparently they follow a taxi, they pull over the taxi, they pull the taxi driver out, they pull Mark Duggan out, they put Mark Duggan down on the ground. I think both taxi driver and Mark Duggan are pinned down on the ground. Now, somewhere along the line, a gun is fired. And the first reports we had, there was 2 shots, and one shot barely missed a police officer, but mashed up his radio. And the second shot was that killed Mark Duggan. When the truth comes out that there was only 1 shot, and it was a ricochet. So, I mean, because Mark Duggan's on the ground, so bang, you shoot him on the ground, or maybe there was 2, but the bullet that lodged in the other officer's radio was not a bullet from a gun that Mark Duggan had. It was a bullet from his own officers. So, hit the ground, bounce up, patay, hits his radio. Lucky motherfucker. But, sadly, again, Mark Duggan, who supposedly had a gun, and as the report comes, he fired first. There was a gun amongst his possessions, but I believe that gun was in a bag, wrapped up in socks. So it was not clearly visible. It was not banished where any officers can say they were in clear and present danger. It was wrapped up in a sock, and you only found out after you killed him. Here's one of the most damning parts about that, though. The IPCC, the Independent Police Complaints Commission, those that are there to be impartial, they're supposed to be independent. They are the ones that claim they leaked the story, misrepresenting the facts. Are we to trust them? I mean, so far everything they've dealt with for us. We've got no fair results in truth. I mean, there's been a few things which they deal with, but when it comes to things of this magnitude, there's no fair results from the IPCC. And I have to state, especially when it is of people of color, I have to state that there is no fair results. In the 80s, there's a speck of people that they killed left, right, and center. But you know, back in them days, you died in police custody. You know, you'd be in the cell or in the van. Today, you don't even get to the police station. They shoot you near enough on sight, and they're getting away with it because we believe what the media tell us. Sorry, my friends, somewhere along the line, you have to turn around and say, no, this is not right. You are there to serve and protect us. That's my beef. I'm a bit sick and tired because when I watch that report, it makes me wonder, how are we so dumb? But on all these things, the Hillsborough effect of the disaster, with that, you got let's say 30,000 people witness, and none of them can corroborate the story that was reported. But that's 30,000 people there. Rupert Murdoch's papers, The Sun, goes out to millions, which makes that 30,000 a silent little hole. Their story is just there in that corner. But The Sun is just going all over the country. So, multitude democracy rules, as we say. This is where democracy is fuckery. But, no man, it's a sad case of affair. Charles Meneze, in the papers, out of the papers, many of you are thinking, who's Charles Meneze? Many of you that live over here in the UK are thinking, who's Charles Meneze? Many of you know, that's just a few. The majority have forgotten. Anyhow, peoples, I'm out of here. Hotep, good night.